coming up on SportsNight.
The football team takes on the Purdue Boilermakers.
Both basketball teams had wild 2019-2020 season debuts that you've got to see to believe.
Well, Andrew, we had a crazy week of Northwestern sports to catch up on, so why don't we just jump right into it?
Let's do it. It's SportsNight right now.
Welcome to Sports Night. I'm Andy Payton, joined alongside Andrew Fenichel. Andrew, we have possibly the biggest game of the year for the Northwestern Wildcats as they take on the Minutemen this weekend.
I mean, you're totally right, Andy. This football team has a massive home game this Saturday versus UMass, and we'll have all the coverage you could ever possibly want on that game right here on Sports Night. But first, let's throw it back to last weekend when the similarly struggling Purdue Boilermakers came to town. Purdue and Northwestern have a lot of similarities on and off the football field. I mean, off the field, you have two great engineering schools in the Midwest, and on the field, well, you have two teams absolutely decimated by injuries. Entering last Saturday's matchup, both teams were on their third-string quarterback and without their top wide receiver. So who could engineer a better offense and take home the victory? Cue the highlights. Northwestern taking on the Purdue Boilermakers at Ryan Field, looking for their first Big Ten win of the season. We pick it up on the first play from scrimmage. There's a party in the end zone, and Kyrick McGowan doesn't want to miss out on it. 79-yard touchdown run on Northwestern's first play from scrimmage. And now, Purdue quarterback Aiden O'Connell gets intercepted by Cameron Ruiz at the Northwestern 18-yard line, and the Cats are back in business. Aiden Smith going deep end zone. That's a 16-yard touchdown strike to Jace James, and Northwestern is up 14-0. Aiden O'Connell now rolling out. He gets strip sack, and Northwestern recovers the fumble. Evanston is a football town all over again. Second quarter now, and here's a touchdown fit for a king. His royalty 12-yard touchdown run by Purdue running back King Daru, and that cuts the Northwestern lead in half, and this cuts it down even more. Another touchdown strike, this time for Purdue. And all of a sudden, it's a 16-14 ball game. Ensuing Northwestern possession, Aiden Smith drops back and he gets picked off. And that ball is returned to about the 33-yard line, and the wheels are starting to come off this Northwestern bandwagon. Purdue going deep for the end zone. Oh man, that's a beautiful catch. And Northwestern finds themselves trailing in this game. And now, the Northwestern defense trying to make a play, and that's what they do. Blake Gallagher off the deflection makes the pick, and now Aiden Smith finds toe tap Riley Lees, and all of a sudden Northwestern's back in front. The Cats are going to do it, trying to add to their lead now with a field goal, and clink! Charlie Kubander bangs that ball off the upright, and now Purdue has a kick of their own to win the game, and there is your final 24-22.
Joining me now here on the side studio is Andrew Golden from the Daily Northwestern. Andrew, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so Northwestern's got a big matchup this week against the University of Massachusetts Minutemen. They're a 39.5-point favorite. Do you think Northwestern can win this game and cover?
They can win, but they will absolutely not cover. Do you know how many times Northwestern has won a football game by over 40 points since 1960? 5 times. And do you think that this Northwestern team is going to do that? Absolutely not. There's no way that they will cover, but I think they will definitely win.
All right, so last week they played Purdue. They had a heartbreaking loss, but the offense really started to get going. What do you think was the main factor of this offense functioning last week, and do you think they can carry it over into this week?
I think it was their ability to run the ball. I feel like their offensive line really performed well. They stepped up. They've been playing well all season, but particularly last week against Purdue, they seemed to play pretty well, open up the holes for Kyrick McGowan, open up the holes for Drake Anderson. I think if they do the same thing and don't allow their quarterbacks to make the right reads and run the ball a lot, I think they'll have an effective opportunity to win.
So now, if Northwestern's able to pull off this game, do you think that they're going to have enough momentum to carry them on to the rest of the season and win a couple more games against these Big Ten teams?
I have a hard time seeing that. I think that Minnesota is a really good team. They're obviously right on the cusp of possibly making the college football playoff if they win. And then you look at an Illinois team that's really come back and played well this year. They're about to go to a bowl game. So I have a hard time seeing Northwestern really bouncing back. I think it's just a chance for Northwestern to see what they have in terms of their whole team, just play people.
Yeah, I think Minnesota would definitely be tough. If anything, maybe a shot at Illinois.
Yeah.
All right, so now can you give me a score prediction for this weekend, and can you give me a player to watch for on both teams?
I think I'm going to go with 31-3 Northwestern. I think they can pull out the victory. I think in terms of our team, I'm really interested to see what Pat Fitzgerald does with Jensen Hooper-Price. He's a wide receiver who's a highly touted recruit this year. He hasn't played this year, but I think that Northwestern has the opportunity to still redshirt him but play him. I think they have a really good opportunity with Jensen Hooper-Price to really have a good game.
I'm going with them covering 53-7.
53 points?
53 points.
We scored 38 points in our last 5 games.
I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping. I'm optimistic.
All right.
Thanks for joining us, Andrew. If you want to catch more of his work, look at thedailynorthwestern.com.
All right, quick story time. So when I woke up yesterday, I opened my phone to check the weather, as I usually do to get my outfit ready. And I almost fell out of my bed when I saw that it was literally 10 degrees. Now, what this meant was, yes, Mom, I should probably wear a jacket to school, but also basketball season had officially arrived in Evanston. The Northwestern men's team got this feeling, to quote my guy Bobby Shmurda, about a week ago when they faced off against the visiting Merrimack Warriors in a game you won't believe what happened. Northwestern taking on the visiting Merrimack Warriors in their first game as a D1 program against a Power 6 team. We get the action started early. Miller Kopp dribbles once, pulls up, that's a bucket. The Texan native puts Northwestern up 5 early. Still on offense now. Pat Spencer swings the ball inside. You know the name, Pete Nance with the monster slam. He'd make his dad proud on that one. So now Northwestern moving the ball some more. All of a sudden it swings to that guy again. He's a shooter. And Miller Kopp knocks down the 3, but Merrimack's up 1 at the half. Boo Booey swings the ball over, gets it back, puts up a 3, and that's a bucket. I mean, he wasn't scared of the Merrimack defense on that one. Tie ball game, number 23. He wants to be like Mike, a little jelly in the lane to put Merrimack up 2 with just 6:11 to go. But it was not enough as Pat Spencer drives and as time expires, misses a floater, and Merrimack gets the win over Northwestern on Friday night. But then Northwestern had another chance to get on the win column, facing off against the Providence Friars. Action getting going early. Teams are trading buckets from the outside. Robbie Barron knocks down a 3. That's a cold-blooded shot right there. Pete Nance surveying the defense, looks down in low. Anthony Gaines up and 1 plus the foul. That's a big shot from the junior. And then the teams keep trading buckets. Steal by Providence, gets out on the break. Little dipsy-do, but boom! Channeling his inner LeBron James is Robbie Barron, and he gets the chase down block. Now Miller Kopp swings the ball. Ryan Young, couple dribbles, kicks it back out. I told you he's a shooter. Miller Kopp knocks down the 3, and then Dahl driving baseline, a little pull-up shot. Misses, but an athletic offensive rebound and put back by Providence, and all of a sudden they start mounting a comeback. They hit a shot, and then another shot. Ball keeps on moving. White dribbles in, cuts through the defense, feeds down low for a dunk, and what's happening? Not much. A.J. Turner ices the game with a dunk, and that's your final. Now joining me to talk men's hoops is our very own Andy Payton from across the studio. So Andy, look, I was at that Providence game last night, and not gonna lie, this team looked really impressive. But the moment the final score put up on the scoreboard, I couldn't get the fact out of my head. This team lost to Merrimack. Again, Merrimack less than a week ago. So I guess my first question for you are, what are your thoughts of the Wildcats' up and down season so far?
Yeah, I mean, that loss to Merrimack was obviously a big blow and a tough loss to the team. After the game, Coach Collins went into that locker room. He sat down his entire coaching staff and team, and he said, look, we can either lay down or get off the pavement and fight. And I think last night's win was clearly an example of them choosing the latter, and I think that's going to continue on through the rest of the season.
Yeah, but to use that exact quote you used from Chris Collins, there's a reason they were knocked down on the pavement in the first place. They lost to Merrimack. Let me remind you again, Merrimack was a Division II team last year. They're now playing D1, but it's not like this team was a dominant Division II program. In fact, here's a stat for you. In the NCAA tournament for Division II last year, they lost in the first round to Dominican. I thought Dominican was a country. I mean, what's going on here? Again, I feel like the big downfall for this Northwestern's men's team is going to be their youth and their inexperience. It's what allows them to win a big game like they did last night against Providence. but it's also going to have laid them to some very bad losses like they did to Merrimack. So I don't know. Talk to me. What are you thinking?
All right. Well, I think you got to give every team a second chance. I mean, look at Kentucky, right? The #1 ranked team in the country loses to Evansville this week. I think it's a bad loss for Northwestern, but that absolutely should not discredit Northwestern beating this Providence Fire team, a team that hasn't missed the NCAA tournament since 2014, and it's consistently one of the top teams in the Big East just because of this one loss.
Okay, so you're just comparing Kentucky to Northwestern now? I get we're both the Wildcats, but come on now. This team is too inconsistent. This team has a lot of potential. You said it. They have a lot of good young pieces. Pete Nance, Miller Kopp, Robbie Barron, the list goes on. But that's why they're going to be good next year, maybe in 2 years. This year, I don't see them finishing any higher than 10th in the Big Ten. I mean, I don't know. What are some players that have stood out to you?
Okay. I mean, obviously, this is definitely a rebuilding year. I agree with you there. But at the same time, I feel like there are some spotlights. One player I'm looking at specifically is Ryan Young. Showed up last night, came in with 16 points, and carried this team past Providence last night. I think he's going to have a breakout season.
I don't know if I should look as far as a breakout season from Ryan Young. Again, he had a great performance. He's literally the reason why Northwestern got the win. But I think it was more of a play based on the matchup versus Providence. They were playing a very extended zone, and I think that's what's allowed Ryan Young to have a great game. Fortunately, that is all the time we have today to talk men's basketball. It's been great. On to the next.
Now don't move a muscle, because we'll be right back, and we'll tell you how the women's field hockey team and men's soccer team did in their Big Ten tournament.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless. At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Welcome back to Sports Night. You know, Andy, we talk a lot about basketball on the show. We talk a lot about football, and for good reason. I mean, usually these teams have the most hoopla, have the most fans. But if you ask any true Northwestern fan who the best team on campus this fall has been, they'll probably give you a different answer.
Sure. I mean, it's definitely the women's field hockey team, Andrew. The field hockey team competed in the Big Ten tournament this weekend at Penn State. The Wildcats were the 3rd seed and faced off against the 6th seed Rutgers and 2nd seed Iowa. First, let's see how the Cats did against Rutgers. We're going to kick it off in the quarterfinals here early in the first as Bente Bakers scores on the reverse chip to put the Cats up 1-0. Second half now, Wildcats cross the ball and find Bente Bakers again, who tips it in and gives Northwestern the 2-0 lead. But then, just moments later, Northwestern's a penalty corner, and who else but Bente Bakers again scores to pick up a hat trick, and the Cats keep rolling 3-0. Now at the end of the third, Scarlet Knights got things going for themselves as Austin Cuneo scores off the penalty corner and puts Rutgers on the board. But unfortunately for Rutgers, it wouldn't be enough as the Wildcats would win 3-1 and advance to the semifinals to face off against the Iowa Hawkeyes. Speaking of which, let's head over to that semifinal matchup now against the Iowa Hawkeyes. This game was actually pushed an entire day due to an ice delay. But nevertheless, we're going to start this one off early in the first with Sar DeBry scoring off a penalty corner to put the Cats on the board first 1-0. Later in the second, it's Iowa's Maddie Murphy dribbling through the Northwestern defenders and finds Leah Zellner, who tips it in to tie the game at 1. Then, just a few minutes later, Iowa is able to push it all the way up the field and find Maddie Murphy, who reverse chips it in to give the Hawkeyes the 2-1 lead. But Northwestern was never able to catch up, and Iowa would go on to win the Big Ten tournament, earning them an automatic bid into the NCAA tournament. Speaking of which, let's head over to that semifinal matchup against Iowa now. This game has been pushed an entire day due to an ice delay. Nevertheless, we're going to start this one off early in the first with Sar DeBry scoring off a penalty corner to put the Cats on the board first 1-0. Later in the second, Iowa's Maddie Murphy dribbles through the Northwestern defenders and finds Leah Zellner, who tips it in to tie the game up at 1. Then, just a few minutes later, Iowa is able to push it and all the way down the field and find Maddie Murphy, who reverse chips it in to give the Hawkeyes the 2-1 lead. But Northwestern was never able to catch up, and Iowa would go on to win the Big Ten tournament, earning them an automatic bid to the NCAA tournament.
The women's basketball team has sky-high expectations entering the 2019-2020 season. So in their first matchup of the season, let's see how they did. Women's basketball team looking to win against Loyola Maryland here. Getting action starting is Lindsay Pulliam knocking down a shot from the baseline. You know she gets buckets. And the teams go down, and boom, that's a block from Abby Scheid. Get rejected, you know how it goes. And the Cats are up 12 at halftime. So all of a sudden, they're on the attack again. Gets it to Pulliam, top of the key, bang, bang, call me Mike Breen. That's a big shot for Northwestern, and they go up 13. And now they're just sort of nursing this lead. Up 15, 7 minutes to go. Veronica Burton, you know that's Cass. Come on now. And the Cats win by 21. As we speak, the Wildcats are currently in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, facing off against the Marquette Golden Eagles.
The Northwestern men's soccer team competed in the Big Ten tournament this past weekend here in Evanston. The Wildcats were the 4th seed and faced off against the 5th-seeded Maryland Terrapins. How did they do? Let's find out. So here we are at Lakeside Field as we're about to kick off this quarterfinal matchup. Early in the fourth, Northwestern defender Julian Ziegenbaum stops a Maryland attacker from getting a shot off. Then later in the second, Jason Cyrus kicks a defender, which is a huge no-no and would set up a penalty kick. Maryland would capitalize off this penalty kick, and that would be good enough to win it as the Terrapins would win 1-1. knocking the Cats out of the Big Ten tournament.
Now joining the show to recap the men's soccer season is none other than WNUR Sports soccer play-by-play man Jake Leiker. How's it going?
It's going really well, I gotta say. I'm doing good.
All right, well, thanks for joining the show. So look, Jake, my first question for you. This team finished 8-8-2, 3-3-2 in the Big Ten, and then lost to Maryland in the first round of the Big Ten tournament, a team they had actually beaten earlier in the season. So was this season a success for the Cats? Was it a failure? What do you think?
I mean, when you frame it that way, it sounds like a failure, but that's not the right way to frame it. Of course this was a successful season. They beat Maryland earlier in the season, who was a defending national champion that was on the road. This is a Northwestern men's soccer team who did not win any Big Ten games last year, only won one the year before. They won 3 this year. They were a 4 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They haven't been a top 4 seed since 2014, I believe the year was. They were in playing games back-to-back years. So this was a good season. They overperformed this year. I think people should be very happy, and I think Northwestern men's soccer team will be happy with the way they performed this year.
Well, there you go. And here's another thing that makes me happy. Superlatives. Who doesn't like a good superlative, right? Although, I will say back in high school, I got shut out of all my senior superlatives. I may or may not still be petty. It doesn't matter. So look, here's what we're going to do, okay? We're going to go rapid fire. I'm going to give you a few awards. You're going to name a player that matches the award. Make sense?
Sure. No explanation or anything, just give you the player?
Yes, no explanation. I mean, if you want to give an explanation, it's up to you, right? We're here. We're having fun on Sports Night.
We'll be quick.
First up, team MVP.
Matt Motterwell, most goals, most assists on the team.
All right. Breakout player.
Breakout player would have to be Logan Weaver, converted to a left back. He's first year. He's normally a midfielder, filled in like a natural.
All right, and last, comeback player of the year.
Comeback player of the year, Matías Tomasino. This is a central attacking midfielder who lost his starting spot to a first year. When Andrew McLeod, the center back, went down, he came in from center attacking midfield to center back. That's pretty impressive.
All right, well, there you go. So look, now the Northwestern season is sort of, unfortunately over. Let's do like a way too early 2020 preview. How's that sound? All right, so like, who is this team losing due to graduation? Are they getting any big recruits? Just what are your overall general preview of the 2020 season?
So are they getting any big recruits? I'll get back to you on that in winter. I can tell you who's a senior, though, and who's leaving. And this is why it's time to break out the whiteboard for this, just so you can understand who is going. Matt Motterwell, MVP, senior. He's gone. You know what? I'm getting up. I'm staying
Go for it, man.
I've got no choice. Gone. Okay, Andrew McLeod, center back, senior. He's gone. And Mac Mazzola, center defensive midfielder. Gone. Now, most people who don't really watch soccer are under the impression that the striker is the most important player. He scores the goals. You ever take biology?
I think like sophomore year of high school.
What's the one thing everyone remembers from biology?
Powerhouse of the cell?
Yes, the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. The central defensive midfielder is the powerhouse of the 4-2-3-1. This is the formation men's soccer plays, and it's going to be very interesting to see in 2020 who is going to take Mac Mazzola's spot over here. It also hurts because your backup central defensive midfielder, Sean Lynch, also a senior. He's gone.
Ooh.
Your backup center back, Andrew McLeod, I just told you, it's Tomasino, also gone. So who's going to take these two spots, or will we see a formation change? That's the thing that I'm most eager to see.
Do you have a prediction? Formation change versus just maybe some freshmen coming in and playing right away?
There's a reason it's a way too early preview, Andrew Fanischel. I have no idea, but it'll be interesting to see what the recruiting class of this year looks like.
That's very fair. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show, Jake Leiker. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have. You can hear more of Jake's works on the airwaves of 89.3 Chicagoland WNUR all season long. And hey, you can watch the rest of Sports Night right here on Facebook Live, YouTube, or wherever else you watch the best Northwestern sports show out there. Don't go anywhere.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Go Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all the go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Fenny, it's really no secret that the Big Ten is the premier conference for women's volleyball.
Oh, it's totally not a secret at all. In fact, if you ask me to rank conferences in sports based on how good that specific sport is, I think you have to go number 1, SEC football, right? I think that's pretty much a consensus. Number 2, ACC basketball. And you said it. Number 3 might just be Big Ten volleyball. And hey, if you disagree, just check out what happened in the Wildcats match in East Lansing on Saturday. The Northwestern women's volleyball team faced off against the Michigan State Spartans on the road, looking to turn around their 2019-2020 season. Another week, though, and another tough opponent for the Cats. What could possibly go wrong? Then the action started here in East Lansing. We got a set over to the other side. Ball is popped up. Once more, set, spike, and it's saved, but right into the net, and that is a point for Michigan State. Now, match point here. The serve goes over the net. Volley. Here's a spike, but that one is saved. All the way, a diving attempt saves it in bounds. Look how crazy this entire rally is. It's sped up. That's how crazy this thing is going to go. Look at, shout out to our editing team right here. We got a spike once. Saved again by Michigan State. Popped up, and boom, and that is a point for Northwestern. They win the set. Then over to the 10-14 ball game now, and Michigan State just proved to be too much, winning that point right there and winning the game 3-2. Next up for the Cats is a home game against the Rutgers Scarlet Knights right here in Evanston on Friday night.
Last weekend, the Northwestern men's tennis team traveled to Minneapolis to take part in the Gopher Invitational. The Golden Gophers dominated on their home court, finishing 22-11 in singles matches and 11-6 in doubles over the course of 3 days. As for the Cats on Friday, junior Nick Brooks defeated Minnesota's Jackson Allen in 3 sets. Brooks followed up that victory with another one on Saturday, defeating Minnesota's Sim Troost in straight sets. Brooks and sophomore Simon Bartholomew then teamed up to take down Troost and Zarovic in a doubles match on Sunday. First-year Natan Spear won a thrilling singles match, defeating Minnesota first-year Daniel Martin in a match that included a 10-8 tiebreak in the third set. Overall, the Cats finished 3-3 in singles matches and 1-2 in doubles matches at the Gopher Invitational, which marks the final competition in the fall season for the Cats. Northwestern will host Illinois State in January to begin the regular season.
Coming up after the break, we got everybody's favorite segment. It's Plays of the Week. Don't go anywhere.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
Northwestern break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Andy, actually, you know what? Forget it. Let's not waste any time. Plays of the week are ready to go, and so are we. Run it. At number 1, Riley Lees. His nickname should be Mr. Toe Tap. Check out the play he makes on this go-ahead touchdown. You're going to want to see this one again. Check out the slow-mo replay. Riley Lees showing off on a Saturday. Incredible play by the wide receiver.
At number 2, we got field hockey, and who else would it be but Bente Bockers. This is her goal to give herself a hat trick. It was assisted by Kristen Manfield.
And at number 1, all right, so check it out. I'm more of an Arrow fan myself, but Kyrick McGowan called this man the Flash. Look how fast he is. That is our editing team just being amazing right there, but he was speedy on this first play touchdown for the Wildcats. He just took that ball and ran with it.
It's been a great week for Northwestern sports, but that's all the time we have here on Sports Night. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at NNN Sports and on Instagram at NNN_sports. Also be sure to check out our new and improved website at www.nntv.org. For Andrew Fenichel, I'm Andy Payton. See you next Thursday right back here on Sports Night. Good night.